what is your message right now to therapists? And how can they show up for their clients, their white clients, their clients of color? What is your message to therapists in the therapeutic community around the world right now? What can they do to really not just passively get through this, but be active?
I think for me, it really starts with self-compassion. Kind of going back to what Amber was saying earlier, we don't really learn how to, I wasn't encouraged, or I didn't have a class on self-care during my graduate studies. And we learn a lot about empathy, but we don't talk about compassion, and most importantly, self-compassion. I honestly don't think that you can hold compassion for someone else, a deep-seated compassion for someone else, until you're able to do that for yourself. I believe that it starts with accepting every part of who you are. You know, your experience, your privileges, if you will, your ability to tune in or tune out to certain things. And that goes for everyone. You know, as a Black woman, I'm deeply tuned in, and I believe that's a privilege. You know, and for whatever your experiences are, being able to accept all of them as part of you, and really embracing that so that you can do that for others.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been highlighting, kind of piggybacking off that self-compassion kind of piece, is the idea that a lot of people feel that the action part of it is somebody else's role. I'll leave that to the experts. My increased awareness is about as much as I can do. It's more than I thought I could do, but that has to end there. And it's almost my professional effort to desperately plead that they not do that. It's like, this can easily be a fad. This could easily be, you remember that time in 2020? Yeah, it got real serious, but then things are back to normal. And it's like, no, don't let this go back to a normal. Don't let the open eyes just go back to a settling place. Let this be the spark that increases understanding, that reduces ignorance, that says, well, if I see it now, will I be more likely to see it next time? And then most importantly, to find out what your role is. You may not be the one with a bullhorn shouting loudly and rallying a crowd. But whether it's outward and active, or maybe just donations or volunteering, or maybe it's just in the counseling room or wherever you're at, you can plant seeds that can be a part of the change. I often talk about in my training sometimes even if you, whether it be by personality style or just based on what impact you feel like you can have, even in a counseling room, you, with your opened eyes, your increased awareness, even though there's a lot more we can all be aware about, can help a teacher increase their awareness, even just by planting seeds. And some of the things they talk about in the session, not like an agenda, but a benefit of the doubt. Can you believe what this student did? It's like, well, actually, sometimes. Can you believe what a coworker did? Well, sometimes people feel that way. You planting a seed of awareness in a teacher helps every student that they see. You are impacting the whole class, even though you never left your counseling room. Every principal, you are impacting the whole school. Every police officer or law enforcement officer, corrections officer, every politician, you can still in this role have an impact, even without necessarily letting it be a big one. And if you have the opportunity to, great, but that doesn't disqualify you if you're not. And so figure out what your role is. We can't all do the same things, but we can all do something, because if we keep it going, it can grow. We can, you don't know what you don't know until you start, but if you're at least willing to, which has been a great thing to see now, more people willing to see what they either just didn't know was there, or may have gotten a hint of, but it was too scary to even go there. And now people are willing to get past that scary barrier cautiously. And so I want to fan that flame. I want to get that spark and say, there's more there. Don't let it be a fad. Find your role and make a change.
Yeah. So I like what you said, Zach, about what you're learning about yourself and some of the feelings, some of the parts of you that have come up around just the delay in that awareness kind of blossoming, that awareness getting your attention. So I think that that's a really great place to start too for white clinicians, is doing that introspective work, going inside, right? And examining where you're at in regards to this conversation, and accepting that, accepting where you're at, and having compassion for where you're at and what might need to be different, right? And then having conversations with other white clinicians about that, right? Getting together with other clinicians about, I have some notes here about, right, examining your own racial biases as a white clinician, and examining some of the things that, some of the ideas or beliefs that you might have, some implicit beliefs about Black people seeking therapy. What are the sensations that come up for you in the past when you've had a Black patient or someone that wasn't white? Like going back and examining that. What were the ideas, the thoughts about that patient? What were the fears of being a therapist to that patient? And what does it mean for you? What does it mean for you to be a white therapist? Actively engaging in, I'm hoping, anti-racist work in your therapy office. What does that mean for you? Also, developing a healthy white identity and culture. Being rooted in, developing that culture, developing what it looks like for you, and broadening that conversation with other white clinicians and white people, your family, really, really, really processing it with other white people, doing that healing work with other white people.